You're listening to the Employee to Entrepreneur podcast with your host, Bill Clanton.
Welcome to the Employee to Entrepreneur podcast. I'm Bill Clanton, and this is going to be a podcast that is going to document my journey from being an employee to an entrepreneur, the challenges I've faced, the decisions I've had to make. This is not meant to be a blueprint for how to quit your job and become an entrepreneur. I want to put that out there right now. That is not the intention for this. It is more my intention to document my journey through transitioning from being an employee to an entrepreneur. And perhaps, maybe there's something in there, some sort of nugget of joy that you'll be able to take away from this that may inspire you to either take a leap, or maybe even something that may just help encourage you at your current job. Entrepreneurship is not for everyone. I hate to say it that way, but it is true. There are some people that are meant for it, and there are others that are not. And there's nothing wrong with that. The pursuit of being an entrepreneur, the pursuit to be an entrepreneur is, there's no rules from the standpoint of, if you're comfortable making your, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $100,000 a year at your current profession, and you're happy at what you're doing, well, then who am I to tell you that you need to do otherwise? I'm merely here to document my transition, because what I realized is that I was not that I had a bad job. I loved my jobs. I loved my career. I loved what I did. I was having fun. But I realized that eventually there was a point at which I had to make a change, because I realized there was nowhere else for me to go for me to keep this level of contentment. So just a little bit of a background on myself. I live in New Jersey. Won't go too much into detail there. Don't want anybody knocking on my door. No, but I am in New Jersey, and I grew up along the Jersey Shore. Great area to live and grow up. I went to college, like everyone does. At least that's the model. Got a job out of college. Went back to school, got a better job, gained some experience, got an even better job. But just to back up a little bit, I got a job in radio. I went to college. I majored in broadcast journalism. So my original major was music education, but I soon realized that that wasn't exactly the way I wanted to go. So I changed my major to broadcast journalism, and shortly out of college, got a full-time job at a radio station doing copywriting and production, which was really awesome for me because I'm a creative guy. I really wanted to express my creativity, and what better way than through little 1-minute little radio dramas, we'll say, writing commercials. And it was fun. I got to write commercials, voice commercials, produce commercials. It was a lot of fun. And I was married at this time. Of course, the thought of building a family comes to mind. So what's the next thing you do when you need to improve your financial situation? Well, I went back to school, and I went to night school at a great trade school for computer repair and network design. Got a couple of acronyms to put after my name, and then applied for another position within the same company. So all within the same company that I was already working for, and achieved a position in their IT department. And it was fun because now not only did I have the experience of the creativity, but now I was having the fun part of the part that was replacing everybody, as computers were replacing DJs and things of that nature, all these different positions throughout the company. I was the guy that was maintaining the computers that were replacing everybody. So talk about job security. So I worked in IT for several years, and then after that I gained the experience to move on to a new department that they were forming at the company. It was called the Interactive Department. And this is where what I was doing on the side as a hobby. On the side, I was creating web pages and designing different things. I created an online radio station. It was called All Pets Radio, and it was quite successful on the side, and it started growing in popularity. We were getting invited to all kinds of major pet-related expos around the world, and it was a really exciting ride. And this is where I'll point out a mistake. Throughout everything I teach, I will not hesitate to share when I realize I made a mistake. And the mistake I made was, I was offered the job as the head of this new department, Interactive, where I'd be maintaining radio station websites for 6 radio stations, as well as overseeing interactive products for those, and interactive products being video production, podcasting, web design, all those wonderful things that go with it. And when I was offered this position, of course, obviously it came with a pay raise. So again, moving up the ladder, well, I stopped working on All Pets Radio. I stopped and let go of what I had achieved. And I still look back at that. This was 2007. And I look back at that as one of the biggest mistakes that I've made over my lifetime. But I digress. We move on from our mistakes and make ourselves stronger from them, right? So I then worked in this new interactive department until 2013. And a lot of times in this department, I was the hired hand, or we'll say the hired gun, when sales would be going to do a presentation for a major brand. I would be called in to, in essence, not necessarily close the deal, but sweeten the pot with the bells and whistles and dazzle them with this new, interweb stuff. But usually, at the end of the day, when I would pretty much close the sale for them, I'd walk away with a handshake and a pat on the back, while the salesperson got all the accolades and cha-ching money. So that pretty much started me on this spiral towards, am I in the right position, and should I move on? And that's when I truly started to become self-aware. And as my wife and I have said about each other many times, that we are not unemployable. And of course, at the time, the mentality was still to have a job. But we knew that no matter what I did, I would be able to succeed at it because I knew I could hustle, I knew I had the skills, and I knew what I was good at. And I was good at creating things. I knew that I really had the skills to take an idea and make it into reality. And that's what I had been doing for the 6 years in the interactive department, plus all the years prior to that in designing network layouts, and then before that writing commercials. I always had this ability to take something that was intangible, through my creativity, make it tangible. So once I became self-aware, I realized that I needed to make an out. I needed to find my exit. And August of 2013, I made that decision, and we'll talk more about that and the decision and how I came to it and how I achieved that in future episodes. But pretty much, I quit my job, started my own company, and I haven't looked back since. That was 2013. It is now 2017, January of 2017, as I'm recording this podcast. And I have not looked back, nor do I ever plan on looking back at my life as an employee, and it is full steam ahead in my life as an entrepreneur. So that's going to wrap up this episode of the Employee to Entrepreneur podcast. I'm Bill Clanton. Join me next time as we talk about the steps that I took towards leaving my job and what my true intentions were leading into that, and then what was my plan, and how did this level of self-awareness continue to grow as I was free of the chains of employment. I'll have all that coming up on our next episode on the Employee to Entrepreneur podcast. Remember, look for me on Instagram. Search Bill Clanton, B-I-Z. You can also find me on Facebook. My fan page is WWN Interactive. That's WWN as in Nancy Interactive. Also find me on Twitter at Bill Clanton, B-I-Z. That's Bill Clanton Biz on Twitter as well. Hope to hook up with you. Feel free to direct message me with any questions and comments. I'd love to hear them. Thanks.
This has been the Employee to Entrepreneur podcast, a production of WWN Interactive.